My mother-in-law's fridge was always overflowing with special local delicacies she painstakingly collected. Moldy steamed buns, pork preserved for 11 years, sour-smelling rice noodles, salted fish marinated for over 20 years. She claimed she usually couldn't bear to eat them and saved them all for my daughter, Lily, and me. My husband, Ethan, would say, "It's all from my mother's heart, dear, just eat a little." My sister-in-law, Chloe, would chime in, "Are city people so great? Not eating it is just looking down on my mother, looking down on country folk, isn't it?" Our in-laws would add, "Eleanor, you're the daughter-in-law, a junior. You're in luck and don't even know it. Having an elder cook for you is more than enough." As a result, my daughter and I ended up dying from eating these delicacies prepared by my mother-in-law. When I opened my eyes again, I had been reborn, back to the moment before we drove to the village for that meal. I turned the car around with Lily and drove away. Only later did I realize there was no accident at all. These special dishes were all intentionally prepared by my mother-in-law for my daughter and me. A frantic honk from a car horn pulled me back from my thoughts. I looked up at the green light ahead, fumbling to start the car and drive forward. We stopped at the entrance to the village. Lily, sitting in her car seat in the back, anxiously asked me, "Mommy, can we not go to Grandma's house?" I turned to look at her, her small face filled with unease. She was 6 years old and had already sensed her grandmother's disapproval. Before we set off, she had strongly protested. I didn't want to go either, but I couldn't resist my husband's pleas. He said his father died young, and his mother had worked hard all her life, telling me not to be petty with her. The last time we visited, Lily was 3. My mother-in-law sent me out to pick vegetables, then secretly fed Lily half a moldy steamed bun, which gave her a bacterial infection. She suffered in the hospital for half a month before recovering. That bun had been in the fridge with a pile of leftovers for nearly half a year. Even a dog would steer clear. Yet, my mother-in-law said it was because Lily was weak, and if she were a boy, there wouldn't be so much trouble. All the relatives told me to be generous and not to hold grudges against elders. I was so furious that I didn't bring Lily back to the village for 3 years. This time, we were returning for my mother-in-law's birthday. Ethan had begged me. Relatives took turns persuading me. I finally gave in. He even said his mother had prepared a whole fridge full of delicacies for Lily and me. Everyone said she had realized her mistakes, asking me to forgive her and bring Lily back for her birthday. The result: after eating her special dishes, Lily and I vomited incessantly, spewing bile and blood, ultimately suffering organ failure and dying from food poisoning. Before she died, Lily's tiny body convulsed in my arms, slowly losing her breath. Unexpectedly, Lily and I were reborn. We returned to the moment just before entering my mother-in-law's village. Without hesitation, I agreed with Lily. "Okay, we won't go to Grandma's house. We'll go home." Lily danced with joy. "Hooray, I love you most, Mommy." We had only driven halfway when my husband's call came immediately. "Eleanor, where are you to? Didn't you say you were almost here? I've been waiting at the village entrance for nearly 20 minutes. Why haven't I seen your car yet?" "I'm so sorry, Ethan." Halfway there, Lily suddenly developed a high fever. I've taken her to a hospital here for an injection. A fever? No fever early, no fever late, but right when it's time to celebrate my mother's birthday, she gets a fever. "Are you doing this on purpose?" I knew he would question me, so while Lily was asleep, I had driven to a roadside hospital parking lot. I sent him my current location, then found a picture of a child receiving an IV drip online and sent it to him. Anyway, he usually didn't care about Lily. He wouldn't recognize if it was her in the photo. "All right, is it serious? How long until the injection is done? Can you make it back for dinner? All the relatives are watching, don't make me lose face." Besides, Mom worked hard preparing a whole table of food. All those delicacies she couldn't bear to eat, she's brought them all out, just hoping you two will come. I sneered inwardly. Ethan, you are truly something. Hearing that his daughter was sick, all he cared about was his own pride and those special dishes we never wanted to eat. In my previous life, it was this very meal, these very delicacies, that killed my daughter and me. He wanted to fulfill his filial duty to save face, while my daughter and I had to pay with our lives. The doctor said she needs observation, so we might have to stay overnight at the hospital. Ethan yelled, "Then what? Today is my mother's birthday. If her daughter-in-law and granddaughter don't come, what kind of respect is that?" I thought for a moment, how about I send Mom a big red envelope? Consider it a token in place of ourselves. I opened my mother-in-law's avatar and transferred 5,000 yuan to her as a birthday gift. She immediately accepted the money, not replying with a single word. I exited the chat and saw she had just posted a new status update on her personal page. My own daughter is still the closest, knows how to celebrate Mom's birthday. It was accompanied by a screenshot of my 5,000 yuan transfer and the message, but she had cropped out my profile picture and name. So everyone thought the red envelope was from my sister-in-law. She didn't explain, and Chloe happily claimed credit in the comments below. Seeing relatives in the comments criticizing Ethan and me for being unfilial, I felt a bit annoyed. Just as I was about to reply, Ethan's message arrived. "It's Mom's birthday today, Alina. Don't cause trouble." Mom certainly didn't mean to. She still remembers your kindness, doesn't she? I gritted my teeth and swallowed my anger. The next morning, my husband returned from the village, laden with bags, and my mother-in-law came with him. She half hid behind the door, head bowed, nervously twisting the hem of her clothes, looking like a wronged little bride. Ethan, feeling guilty for bringing his mother back without my consent, immediately became stern when he saw her acting pitiful in front of me. Mom is inconvenient living alone in the village. She's old and needs someone to take care of her. As her son, it's only right for me to bring her to live with us and fulfill my filial duty. Only right, so my consent isn't needed? I scoffed. We had made it clear before marriage, this was a house I bought. If I didn't agree, she couldn't come. Last time she visited, she used my face towel to wipe her bottom after using the toilet. After wiping, she hung the soiled towel back in its place. If I hadn't smelled the feces before using it, I would have wiped my face with her excrement. She also secretly used my fruit knife to scrape dead skin off her feet and spat phlegm onto my clothes. These horrific incidents were still vivid in my mind. Moreover, the delicacies she brought were years old, some even older than my daughter. She had once tried to feed my daughter a spoiled piece of chocolate. Lily cried, refusing to eat it, saying there were worms. I took it back to check. Inside, it was swarming with maggots. My mother-in-law's face darkened, and she threatened Lily, "You coward! When your mother gives birth to a brother, I'll throw you into the cesspit." Lily was so terrified she couldn't cry, only clinging tightly to me. I was furious, smashing the glass cup on the table to the ground, then taking Lily back to my parents' house. My mother-in-law lay without eating or drinking for a day. When Ethan returned from work, she cried hysterically, snot and tears streaming, threatening to hang herself. Mother and son hugged and cried for a long time. After understanding the situation, Ethan only casually said, "My mother means well, she's just too thrifty." I smiled. Fulfilling filial duty is good, but my parents miss Lily these days and asked me to bring her over for a few days. My mother-in-law's eyes darted, and she eagerly pushed forward. "Going to your grandparents' house? Coincidentally, I brought some local specialties. You can take them for your in-laws to taste." I hesitated, looking at the bags of frozen meat that resembled corpses. "No need, Mom. My parents eat quite simply. You should keep them for yourself." My mother-in-law waved her hand. "We've eaten already. These are all for you too, and Lily too." Then she looked at my daughter with doting affection, her mud-stained hand about to touch Lily's face. I quickly intercepted. "Thank you, Mom. Just put them in my car. I'll take them over later." As soon as my mother-in-law entered the house, she started bustling around. If she wasn't cleaning the floor, she was dusting, not even stopping for a drink of water. In the evening, she cooked 4 dishes and 1 soup alone in the kitchen. At the dining table, she eagerly scooped stir-fried preserved pork onto my and Lily's plates, using her own chopsticks to heap our bowls full. "This is genuine village stuff. You kids can't even buy this normally. It's so nutritious." I stared at the pile of meat in my bowl, unsure what to do. This was one of the culprits that had killed my daughter and me in my previous life. My husband ignored my resistance, urging, "Mom specifically saved this meat for you, Alina. Yesterday, I wanted to eat some, but she wouldn't let me. As soon as she heard you and Lily weren't coming back, she put it away immediately. Don't you like preserved pork the most? Come on, try some." I forced a smile. "Yes." Taking advantage of my mother-in-law going to the kitchen to bring the soup, I quickly scooped all the preserved pork from my bowl into Ethan's. I smiled sweetly, fawning over him for the sake of family harmony. "You've worked so hard, dear." Ethan casually said, "It's not poison, why are you acting like this?" Before my mother-in-law came out, he wolfed down all the preserved pork. My mother-in-law, thinking I had eaten it all, grinned, revealing her stained yellow teeth. Taking Lily downstairs, I threw the oozing bags of delicacies from the car into the trash. Lily pulled a box out of her backpack. "Mommy, Grandma secretly slipped this to me. I don't want to eat it." "What is it?" I took it to look. It was a box of chocolate manufactured 10 years ago. I quickly threw it into the trash, then wiped my hands several times with alcohol wipes. When we arrived at my parents' house, I saw over a dozen missed calls from Ethan. Messages in the family group chat were flashing continuously. I casually tapped to open it. Inside were several photos posted by Chloe, the very bags of delicacies I had just thrown away. In my previous life, Chloe and my mother-in-law had used the power of family opinion to torment me to exhaustion. Chloe tagged me in the group and asked directly, "Sister-in-law, what do you mean by this?" "My mother kindly brought food for your family. If you didn't like it, you shouldn't have accepted it. Why accept it and then secretly throw it in the trash? You city people are something else, wasting other people's kindness like that. My mother usually can't bear to eat or spend money, saving it all for you and Lily. Is there any daughter-in-law like you? How did your mother raise you?" Below were criticisms from all of Ethan's relatives directed at me. Finally, my husband spoke up. "I'll handle it." I opened the chat with my husband. He sent me a few messages. The first two were scolding me. The last one said he felt dizzy and had a stomachache. I sent him a message asking if he was okay, but he didn't reply all night. I scoffed, turned off my phone, and confidently took a shower with Lily before going to sleep at my mother's house. The next morning, I called Ethan. "Hello, darling, what's wrong?" Unlike his angry tone last night, Ethan weakly said, "Wife, I have food poisoning. I had to get an IV in the emergency room last night. I'm exhausted." I said with feigned concern, "Why food poisoning all of a sudden? Did you eat something spoiled?" Ethan swallowed his words, saying evasively, "Nothing, I don't remember either." Such a filial son. At a time like this, he's still worried about his mother, afraid I'll know the truth about the poisoning and resent her. Oh well, it's not me suffering anyway. I opened their family group chat. Sure enough, Chloe was no longer talking about the delicacies incident, but was posting several, no-filter, photos of her son, Leo. I found it annoying and put the group on silent. At noon, I cooked and brought food to the hospital for them. Ethan had sepsis and needed to stay in the hospital for observation. After just one night, he looked gaunt, his cheeks sunken, and he seemed very tired. My mother-in-law stood beside him, her face full of remorse, knowing it was her special dishes that caused the problem. Fearing she'd have to run back and forth, I proactively said, "I'll go home tonight, Mom. I'll bring you meals these next few days." My mother-in-law quickly waved her hand. No need. You just stay at your parents' house and play with Lily. I can manage." Ethan also said, "Come when I'm discharged." I didn't think much of their refusal. I had only offered casually. If they didn't want it, then fine. 2 days later, Chloe posted a new selfie, and in the background, it was my bedroom. I felt a sense of dread and quickly rushed home. As I pushed the door open, the house was a mess, almost nowhere to step. On the dining table and coffee table were half-eaten takeout containers, and soup spilled all over the fabric sofa and walls. Lily's toys were scattered across the floor, several dolls torn apart. Chloe's son, Leo, burst out with a toy machine gun, muttering, "Bang, bang, boom, boom, kill the old witch. Why are you deliberately destroying Lily's things?" I grabbed him and slapped him twice to vent my anger. Chloe heard the commotion and ran out of my room. She was wearing a dress I hadn't even had the heart to wear myself, holding my favorite perfume bottle. "Oh, it's just a few ripped toys, what's the big deal? I'll buy Lily new ones later." It was ridiculous. My daughter had never seen her buy her a single toy since birth, yet every time Chloe and her son came to my house, they would casually take quite a few things. I went into the room to check. My cosmetics were all opened, and my jewelry box was also wide open. Chloe showed no shame at being caught red-handed, calmly took off the dress she was wearing, and tossed it aside. "Isn't it because you weren't home?" My brother is in the hospital with no one to bring him food, and my mother was so tired her back hurt, so she called me to help. Otherwise, I wouldn't even bother coming to your house. I coldly swept all the cosmetics she had used into the trash. Looking back at the jewelry box, a gold bracelet was missing, a dowry gift from my mother when I got married. I stopped Chloe, slapped her twice, and said, "Give me my bracelet." She clutched her bag tightly, glaring at me. "You say I took it, so I took it. Do you have any proof?" Her son Leo stabbed me in the stomach, calling me an old witch and a bad woman. I kicked the brat away. I took out my phone and started recording. Chloe, I'm asking you for the last time, did you take my bracelet? She arrogantly yelled. I didn't take it. Don't accuse everyone of being a thief. You're just rich, aren't you? With that, she took Leo and swaggered off. I was shaking with anger, picked up my phone, and dialed 911. Hello, I want to report a theft. My house has been robbed. While waiting for the police, I opened Ethan's family group chat and sent a message. Lately, cable thieves have been rampant. My house was just broken into, suffering heavy losses. I hope all aunts, uncles, brothers, and sisters will be careful to prevent criminals from having an opportunity. Gossiping is human nature. Everyone in the group immediately started clamoring, asking what I lost, its value, how it happened, and cursing the thief. I replied to each one. As soon as they heard I lost an 80-gram gold bracelet, everyone advised me to report it to the police immediately. The current gold price is nearly 1,000 yuan per gram, so an 80-gram bracelet is worth 80,000 yuan, a considerable sum for an ordinary person. Chloe finally couldn't hold back and jumped into the group. Chloe, Alina, what do you mean by this? Are you trying to frame me? Or are you just playing the thief who cries, "Stop thief"? Making a mountain out of a molehill and even calling the police. You city people are truly terrifying. Alina, I didn't say you were the thief. Why are you so nervous? Chloe, it's certainly not me. I didn't take your stuff. You can go find whoever you want. I'm too lazy to care about a crazy woman like you. Ethan, what now? If there's something, say it privately. Don't disturb everyone's rest. Ethan's attitude ignited my anger to its peak. I picked up a baseball bat and smashed his model collection cabinet, which he had painstakingly collected, along with other messy areas in the house. I took photos and sent them to the group. Ethan reacted violently. What happened? Who did this? I'm calling the police? I gave a cold laugh. I already called the police. When they arrive, I'll hand over the evidence. Then I sent a video clip to the group, footage from a camera I had installed in the bedroom. It captured a segment. In the video, Chloe stealthily entered my bedroom, took the bracelet from the jewelry box, and hid it in an inner pocket of her bag. As soon as the video was sent, Ethan's call came. Alina, quickly take down that video. Bad things in the family shouldn't be spread outside. Don't let relatives and friends laugh at us. If you do this, how will people look at Chloe later? She probably just had a momentary lapse in judgment. Don't overreact like this. I'll tell her to return the bracelet to you, just don't call the police. I didn't answer, only sent him the audio recording of Chloe denying it. Ethan listened in silence for 2 seconds, then said irritably, So, what do you want? I'm still in the hospital right now. Do you want to send my sister to jail? Make my mother sick with anger to be satisfied? Is it worth making such a fuss over a torn bracelet? Our peaceful family is about to be ruined by you. Ethan's words were like a bucket of cold water poured over me, leaving me both cold-hearted and clear-headed. To him, I would always be an outsider. Only his mother and sister were family. Every time they clearly bullied me, he would always preach peace and harmony, even criticizing me for being unreasonable. Was I destined to be wronged, destined to swallow my anger? Perhaps it wasn't just my mother-in-law and sister-in-law I couldn't accept, but this husband, Ethan, also needed to be kicked out. The relatives, as soon as they saw that Chloe was the thief, immediately changed their tune, one by one advising me that this was a family matter and not to make a big fuss, it would look bad. Ethan's uncle, acting as an elder, ordered me to withdraw the police report immediately. The matter of the bracelet finally concluded with the police coming to educate Chloe apologizing to me in the family group, and returning the bracelet. Ethan's aunts then insinuated that I had money to buy a bracelet but didn't spend a penny on my mother-in-law's birthday. I threw a screenshot of the transfer into the group. One by one, they fell silent. That evening, Ethan and his mother returned from the hospital. My mother-in-law's face was dark with fury, upset about Chloe stealing the bracelet. She ignored my and Lily's greetings, turning and going into the kitchen. At dinner, my mother-in-law only cooked fresh rice for herself and Ethan, while for Lily and me, she served cold mixed rice noodles and a salted fish she had brought from the village. Why isn't there any rice? I want to eat rice, Lily said, frowning at the plate of rice noodles in front of her. She wasn't used to eating this dish. Ethan then noticed Lily and I didn't have rice. Then go scoop some rice to eat. My mother-in-law, standing nearby, said awkwardly, I cooked too little rice, only enough for 2 people. My husband pushed his bowl of rice towards Lily, pulling the plate of mixed rice noodles towards himself, preparing to eat it. He usually loved this dish. My mother-in-law's face immediately changed. This stuff came from the village. It might not be fresh anymore. Don't eat it. What if something happens? Ethan lifted the plate of rice noodles to smell it, and the sour odor of spoiled food hit his nose. He was so angry that he threw his chopsticks down on the table. He had just lost an important project due to this hospital stay, and his anger was already boiling. He said helplessly, "Mom, how long have you kept this stuff in the fridge? If it's not fresh, why did you bring it out? And this salted fish, you probably salted it when I was 5, didn't you? Can this even be eaten? You're old, Mom, how can you be so muddled?" My mother-in-law cried indignantly. "You're my son and you treat me like this. I worked hard serving all of you. Am I wrong? You're all right, only I'm wrong. You're being incited by that hussy to bully your own mother. Truly, raising you is a waste of effort. I'll leave, is that what you want?" With that, my mother-in-law gathered 2 bundles of clothes, intending to leave. Ethan frantically tried to persuade her, almost kneeling. Seeing another dramatic scene about to unfold, I quickly took Lily into the home theater room and put on her favorite cartoon. Looking at Lily's innocent, adorable smile, my heart felt heavy. That night, my husband hugged me and cried for a long time, saying he knew I had suffered silently over the years. I was a little touched, thinking he had finally decided to keep a safe distance from his mother, but I had overestimated him. "Eleanor, let's have another child. Let's have a son to make my mother happy. Maybe she'll settle down then. She's causing so much trouble now because she's unhappy that we only have Lily, a daughter." I couldn't believe it. I pushed him away. "Ethan, what do you mean by that? Are you also disappointed that Lily is a girl? We clearly agreed from the beginning, whether boy or girl, we'd only have one child, no second one. 2 children aren't that many. Why don't you want to have one? It's not like we can't afford to raise them. Aren't your parents giving you several rental properties?" I was shaking with anger. "I just want to give all my love to Lily. I will not have a second child." Ethan said contemptuously, "What do you mean all your love? That's selfishness. My mother is right, only children like you are very selfish. If my mother and I are not satisfied, let's get a divorce." Ethan, seeing I was unyielding, then chuckled. "See, you just say that. If you don't agree, then fine. One disagreement and you demand a divorce. Have you considered how much divorce would hurt Lily?" My heart went cold. I had no hope left for him. My mother-in-law stayed at Chloe's house for a few days, and Chloe once again posted nonsense in the family group chat. She criticized Ethan for forgetting his mother because of his wife, and for being ungrateful. The relatives, like righteous judges, also jumped in to accuse him of being unfilial, subtly criticizing me. In Chloe's latest video, my mother-in-law lay in bed looking like she was on her deathbed, with a torn towel draped over her forehead. I knew Chloe's rented apartment was dark and cramped. My mother-in-law could stay for a few days, but a long stay would definitely be overcrowded. Chloe's husband was not a generous man either, and would certainly complain endlessly about his mother-in-law freeloading. So Ethan had to ask me to pick his mother up again. I arrived at Chloe's rented apartment, knocked, and waited a long time with no response. Just as I was about to go downstairs, I heard my mother-in-law and Chloe talking. I was about to greet them, but some devil possessed me to hide in the corner of the staircase. "Leaner, that hussy, she has so many houses, why doesn't she share one with us? She knows we're struggling but doesn't help. She calls the police over a bracelet. She's truly selfish, what else could she be? She only has one daughter, yet she occupies so many houses. Last time that plate of preserved pork I deliberately made for her, I didn't expect my brother to eat it all. I've kept it in the fridge for 10 years. Luckily, my brother is fine. Otherwise, I wouldn't have let her off the hook." "Mom, where did you learn this? Why didn't you tell brother?" Last time at Li Chuan's feast, I heard her second uncle say that old man Lu in the village saved a piece of meat over the new year and couldn't bear to eat it. On the 8th day, he happily cooked it, and that was the end of him. Your brother is soft-hearted. I'm afraid he wouldn't abandon that hussy, so I didn't tell him. Next time, I'll find an opportunity to make her a few more dishes. After she dies, everyone will think it's an accident. Then your brother can marry Lillian, and I guarantee I'll have a flock of grandsons. And all her houses, they'll all be ours then." "I thought so too, Mom. But tell Lillian and my brother to keep it well hidden, don't let her find out and demand a divorce. Then we'd lose all the houses." "Don't worry, Mom." The sound of my mother-in-law and Chloe closing the door echoed, and I finally dared to breathe. My face was pale. My legs felt like jelly, my whole body felt like it had been struck by lightning, and I stumbled downstairs in a daze. Ethan had cheated on me, and his mistress was Chloe's best friend. I didn't need to be told. This was definitely all arranged by Chloe. Ethan looked quite handsome, and his job wasn't bad. Initially, I liked him for these few good points, but in the end, I had misjudged him. And my mother-in-law's delicacies turned out to be deliberate attempts to take my and Lily's lives. Our deaths from poisoning in my previous life were not an accident but a human plot. She hated me for not having a second child, wanted Ethan to marry another woman, but couldn't bear to give up the houses in my name, so she devised this accident at the dinner table. No wonder every time she made those precious delicacies, she would stare intently, not letting Ethan touch them, only scooping them into my and Lily's bowls. If I didn't fight back, I feared it would be just like my previous life. Lily and I would simply die in an accident, with no one held responsible. I wandered downstairs until late evening before returning home, only to find my mother-in-law had already returned on her own. "Eleanor, today I cooked your and Lily's favorite dishes. They're all freshly bought from the market, very fresh and delicious. Hurry and wash your hands and eat." I smiled gently and naturally. "Yes, Mom, you've worked so hard. I was working overtime a bit late today and was just about to pick you up." "It's okay, it's okay. I've thought it through these past few days, and I'm also at fault. We're family, let's not talk about these things anymore. It's all in the past." "Yes, Mom." After dinner, my mother-in-law dumped the leftover food from her plate onto the bathroom floor. Soup splattered everywhere, oil and grease clinging to the walls. If it were before, I would definitely remind her not to do that, then use dish soap to clean the floor and walls. This time, I just did a quick sweep before going to bed, then poured half a bottle of peanut oil onto the bathroom floor. I knew my mother-in-law had a habit of getting up to use the toilet at night. In the middle of the night, Ethan and I were awakened by the sound of something heavy falling to the ground. My mother-in-law's cries of pain rang out. "Oh dear, oh my, it hurts so much." "What's wrong, Mom? Why did you fall?" Ethan rushed into the bathroom to check on his mother. As soon as he sat down, he felt the oil on the floor. He desperately yelled, "Mom, why did you dump leftovers here again?" making the floor so slippery and not turning on the light. "It's pitch black, it'd be a miracle if you didn't fall." My mother-in-law cried in pain but still argued. Wasn't I trying to save water, waiting to flush the leftovers along with my stool? Not turning on the light was to save electricity, too. "How many pennies are you saving?" I came out to see. My mother-in-law couldn't move. It seemed she was seriously injured. "All right, I've called 911. Mom, don't move randomly." My mother-in-law suffered a shattered hip joint. After surgery, she could only lie bedridden. Taking care of her, taking care of our child. That period, I happened to be away for training in another province. Ethan was busy day and night by himself. When I returned, he immediately said living in the city was uncomfortable and wanted to go back to the village to recuperate. Our school had already started winter break, and it was 10 days until Lunar New Year. He suggested I take Lily with him to the village. 1, I could take care of him, and 2, I could tidy up the house in the village. I didn't refuse, but I didn't take Lily. Instead, I drove my mother-in-law back to the village. Taking advantage of this time, I tidied up my mother-in-law's fridge. She heard the noise, fearing I would throw away her precious things. Leaning on her cane, she laboriously shuffled out of her room, telling me not to touch anything. Her guilty expression, of course, did not escape my notice. During this time, I had gotten to know the neighbors in the village. Before returning, I brought quite a few New Year's gifts and shared more than half of them with them. Seeing my generosity, they were not stingy with me. Thus, I learned quite a few things my mother-in-law had said to badmouth me in the village. And Aunt Susan also warned me not to eat my mother-in-law's chicken. "Auntie, why do you say that?" "Eleanor, your mother-in-law, back during the Kingoming festival, had a chicken that died of disease. She didn't throw it away but slaughtered it and put it in the freezer, saying she was saving it to eat for the new year." I gave a cold laugh. This chicken is prepared for Lily and me to eat, isn't it? Arriving at the village house door, I heard my mother-in-law on the phone, deliberately speaking loudly. "Really? You're really pregnant? Have you had it checked? Boy or girl? A boy? Oh, a boy is so good. So our Chen family finally has an heir. Does your brother know yet? Look how happy he is. Tell him not to be too happy. If Eleanor finds out, it'll be trouble." I bit my lip, quietly stepping outside for a walk. When I returned, my mother-in-law was taking frozen meat out of the fridge. Face beamed with joy. Tomorrow is New Year's Eve, all the relatives are coming for dinner. I'm much better now, I'll show everyone my cooking skills. I picked up a chicken, frozen solid as a rock, and asked her, Mom, when was this chicken slaughtered? A few days ago, I asked Aunt Tu to slaughter a genuine free-range chicken for me, clean and unpolluted. You city kids don't get to eat this. Tomorrow, I'll marinate it and make fried chicken specifically for you and Lily. No one else gets any. I smiled gratefully. Grandma is so good to Lily, and I get to benefit too. So good that as soon as she heard about a grandson, she immediately moved to kill my daughter and me. My mother-in-law used her homemade pressed oil to fry a large pot of chicken. I knew that oil was also pressed from moldy peanuts. The aflatoxin content must have exceeded the standard many times over. This pot of fried chicken was no different from arsenic. While my mother-in-law was busy in the kitchen, I stood by, filming a video and sending it to the group chat. Just so everyone can clearly see, these dishes are all handmade by my mother-in-law. They have nothing to do with me. Leaner, quickly hide the pot of fried chicken in your and Lily's room. Eat it secretly after the guests arrive. Afterward, she prepared another table of fresh, delicious food. Seeing the guests about to arrive, I suddenly said to my mother-in-law, Ethan said he wants to eat the scallion pancakes you make, Mom. Could you go to the garden and pick some scallions? My mother-in-law hesitated for a moment, seeing that it was still early, and said, Okay, when the guests arrive, tell them to start eating. I nodded. After my mother-in-law left, I cleared all the dishes from the table and brought out the pot of fried chicken. Seeing that there wasn't enough fried chicken, I used the same homemade pressed oil my mother-in-law had hidden to fry a few more meat dishes, then brought them all out. After doing all this, I went to the convenience store at the village entrance to wait. I told everyone I met that my mother-in-law had worked hard today, preparing a huge table of food all by herself. Seeing Ethan's car, I quickly waved. Ethan stopped the car and rolled down the window, asking impatiently, Why aren't you home helping Mom? Why are you out here? Mom is very capable. She's finished cooking everything. She told me to come out here and buy some soft drinks. Everyone can just start eating when they arrive, no need to wait. Then I took Chloe's son, Leo, out of the car. I didn't take him into the convenience store to buy drinks. Leo, in the back seat, opened the car door and also demanded to go buy drinks. Chloe's face was dark as she glared at me, ignoring Leo's tantrum. I said, Grandma made fried chicken for you, Leo, specifically for you and your mom. It'll all be gone once everyone gets here. Hearing that, he immediately started screaming for fried chicken. I said, Leo, please leave a few pieces for Lily. This is village chicken that Grandma found someone to slaughter early this morning. It smells so good, Lily hasn't even had any yet. He gave a wicked grin. No, I'm going to eat it all by myself. Stinky Lily can go eat poop. Then he slammed the car door shut, urging Ethan to drive away quickly. My daughter whimpered and cried indignantly. I sat down to comfort her. It's okay, sweetheart. Later, I'll take you out to eat whatever you want. I'll even buy you a whole room full of your favorite dolls. Lily forced a smile. Mommy, I won't cry anymore. I won't fight with him. Watching them drive away, a cold smile played on my lips. With Chloe's and her son's personalities, it would be strange if they didn't finish that entire pot of fried chicken. I took Lily to buy a few instant noodle cups and took a long way home. By my calculations, all the relatives should have arrived. Over the years, under the malicious slander of my mother-in-law and sister-in-law, my image in the eyes of his relatives was extremely negative. Everyone wanted to make me feel awkward and wronged. I remembered the first time I returned to the village with Ethan after we got married. They didn't even wait for us and started the feast without us. When we arrived home, there was only a table full of leftovers. Ethan's uncle, picking his teeth, told me to go wash the dishes. Ethan, afraid I would turn around and leave, rolled up his sleeves and washed the dishes with cold water, which made his mother incredibly heartbroken for her son. Nearing the house, Ethan's cousin's wife, always eager to gossip, rushed out. Eleanor, hurry and come see. They suddenly started vomiting. Leo is even throwing up blood. I rushed in to see. The pot of fried chicken had been completely eaten. Most of the dishes on the table were also nearly finished. Besides Ethan, Chloe, and Leo, who had the most severe symptoms, other relatives also started feeling their stomachs churning and vomiting incessantly. Ethan and Leo vomited several mouthfuls of blood and had already collapsed unconscious. Chloe vomited until her face was ashen, and she weakly fell to the ground. She looked at me, gritting her teeth and saying, It must have been you, that hussy who poisoned us. Call the police. I want to call the police. With that, she tried to stand up, intending to lunge at me, but her vision blurred and she fell to the ground. My eyes red with feigned panic, I said, "I don't know, I really don't know." All the food was made by my mother-in-law. She wouldn't let me lift a finger. Someone from the village had already run to the vegetable garden to call my mother-in-law back. As soon as she entered the door, she saw her son, daughter, and grandson sprawled on the ground. She let out a cry, her eyes rolling back, and fell to the ground convulsing. The hospital was quite far from the village, and it was New Year's Eve, so the county had to temporarily dispatch over a dozen ambulances to take everyone and the food from the table to the hospital. Ethan and Leo died before reaching the hospital and were taken straight to the funeral home. Chloe and my mother-in-law were still in critical condition in the ICU. One had acute liver failure and needed a full blood transfusion. The other had a cerebral hemorrhage and was undergoing skull surgery. Other relatives who ate a lot suffered acute gastroenteritis and needed hospitalization, while those who ate little suffered dehydration and only needed fluids and electrolytes, but all had to endure a rough time. Only Lily and I, along with Ethan's cousin's wife who was busy taking care of her newborn, hadn't eaten anything. Ethan's uncle, as soon as he recovered, immediately reported me for poisoning and murder, demanding that the police arrest and execute me. Chloe's husband rushed over. As soon as he heard his son was dead, he was so furious he almost stormed into the ICU to confront Chloe. He had initially disagreed with her taking their son to her parents' house for New Year's, and they had a big fight before she left. He cried over his son for a while, then, hearing that saving Chloe would require expensive medical fees, he immediately fled in fear. I hugged Lily, sobbing outside the operating room. Our pain, at least, was real. Ethan, after all, had been my husband for many years. Though he failed his responsibilities, he was still Lily's biological father. The hospital's test results confirmed it was food poisoning. The food on the table contained toxins at various levels, the most lethal being the pot of fried chicken. My daughter, Ethan's cousin's wife, and I were all questioned. I presented the video on my phone to prove that all the food was prepared by my mother-in-law. Villagers could also testify. That diseased chicken was intentionally saved by my mother-in-law for the New Year's meal. The relatives still wanted to cause trouble for me. I stated directly, "If you cause any more trouble, I'll leave." Immediately, one by one, they fell silent. I quickly cremated Ethan so he could rest in peace in his hometown. Chloe and my mother-in-law, after being saved, lost the ability to speak and move. Bedridden, they were no different from people in a vegetative state. I made an agreement with my mother-in-law's siblings. They would care for the two of them from now on. I knew they wouldn't provide meticulous care, nor would they easily let them die. To let them live a life worse than death, enduring torment, that was the best outcome. After taking care of everything in the village, I took Lily back to the city. Ethan's mistress immediately came knocking. She was Chloe's best friend, Lillian. Her belly was slightly protruding and her face was haggard. She clearly already knew about Ethan's death. I wasn't surprised by her appearance. "I'm carrying Ethan's child, the bloodline of the Chen family," I calmly said. "Then you should go find Ethan. Why are you looking for me?" She looked around my house and said, "This house must be divided in half for my child, and Ethan's inheritance too must be divided between me and my child." I couldn't help but laugh. "Ethan is already ashes. Do you have proof that the baby is his? Furthermore, I bought this house before marriage. It has nothing to do with him. You talk about inheritance? Ethan not only left no inheritance but also owed tens of thousands of yuan in online loans. Do you want to share half of that?" Lillian couldn't believe it, screaming, "How can that be? He said the house was his, and his annual salary was 1.5 million yuan. I took out the property deed to show her and asked, "Then did he tell you how many loan apps he had on his phone? How much money he lost each year?" Lillian was speechless for a moment, unable to say anything, and collapsed into tears. Afterward, she proposed that I give her 200,000 yuan in compensation. She would take the money, have the child, and raise it herself. I refused and advised her, while the fetus was still small, to quickly get an abortion so she could still marry cleanly later. She cursed me as cruel and heartless, screaming that she would give birth to the child and come sit in front of my house every day. I was inspired and hired several elderly trash pickers on our street at a high price, telling them to ride their tricycles every day, holding small loudspeakers, and play recordings of her and Ethan's affair repeatedly outside Lillian's parents' house. This made her entire family unable to show their faces in public, constantly pointed at. Her parents angrily forced her to have an abortion. As for me, I quickly moved house with Lily, starting a new life. In the years that followed, I often wondered if the absence of a father's love would negatively affect my daughter's growth. But on her 18th birthday, Lily told me she was very grateful for that accident years ago. It was then I also learned that she used to have nightmares every night because of my in-laws, unable to sleep. After the accident, she had secretly rejoiced alone for a long time, often laughing in the middle of the night, unable to sleep, only pretending to be sad because she was afraid I would be upset. At this moment, I was finally certain that my decision that year was absolutely correct.